While the news might not have reached every corner of the Ummah, the Arab world was recently shaken by a rather unexpected event from Egypt. The reversion back to Islam of Nahil Matwali, who left Islam for Christianity in the 90s. This event is of particularly great importance, not only because every guided soul is a reason to rejoice, but also because Nile was used by Egyptian Christians as an argument against Islam. Having appeared in Christian TV shows and having been associated with books against Islam. But how exactly did this all happen? How does a 50-year-old woman raised in a Muslim family, whose first son is named Muhammad, suddenly leaves the religion of truth? Was this university graduate who worked in education convinced by logical, irrefutable arguments against Islam? Or was it something else? It actually seems that at the time, as she felt lost, what she believed to be Jesus, son of Mary, appeared to her in the middle of the night.
فشفت المسيح أمنت فيه على طول من غير تفكير.
It is worth noting that Nile herself admitted to not being anchored on her religion back in the day, and it made her vulnerable to believing in such visions. What is particularly shocking is that while it is well known that Jesus, son of Mary, peace be upon him, was a Middle Eastern man, the man who appeared to Nile somehow fitted the description of the European Jesus that has been spread around since the Middle Ages.
لكن اللي هي الصورة المعروفة هو شعره بني أحمر ذهبي مش أصفر ذهبي مش محمر يعني، وعينيه زي لون السماء زرقاء قوية جدا وأبيض وطويل. تعرف وانت داخل كده الثوب اللي انت لابسه والطول بالظبط كده. هو جميل جدا وكلامه قوي جدا.
But regardless of the nature of the vision, Nile at the time didn't doubt it and embraced Christianity, leaving Egypt with her daughter and fleeing to the Netherlands to avoid the punishment that Egypt used to hold for apostasy. She indeed didn't plan on keeping her apostasy secret, and it is how Christian apologists around the world rushed to the women to use her as a voice for Christianity and against Islam.
في البداية العالم كله دعاني. رحت أمريكا، رحت كندا، رحت فرنسا، لفيت العالم كله. كتبت كتاب لقائي مع المسيح اترجم ل7-8 لغات: عربي، انجليزي، فرنساوي، ألماني، هولندي، أسباني.
And despite the fact that her apostasy took place over 30 years ago, Christian apologists of today were still using her name before she reverted back, adding words to her story and going as far as calling her the Egyptian Saint Paul.
Aujourd'hui, je vais vous raconter une histoire qui vous paraîtra peut-être incroyable. C'est parce qu'il s'agit d'une histoire qui est proprement surnaturelle, au sens où Dieu a déployé sa puissance pour faire connaître de manière extraordinaire à une femme musulmane la vérité sur le Christ.
To this day, entering the name of Nahal on search engines yields mostly articles from Christian sources and in many different languages. However, despite the sheep that found its way narrative pushed by missionaries, with time, Nile began to question the core tenets of Christianity, and this after studying the religion thoroughly and understanding it. Having traveled around the world and been to many Christian countries, she was able to learn the religion in detail and observe the practices and beliefs of Christians across the continents. And this, in addition to cross-readings of the Bible and the Quran, allowed her to see the deceit in what she has been told, thus finding a way back to guidance. But as much as Christians seem to have loved her as an apostate, the same people who have been singing her praise for 30 years appear to suddenly be quite angry with Nile. Some of those in denial are outright lying and saying that Nile is still Christian, despite Nile making her Islam public and giving multiple interviews, while on the other hand, turning their back on her after years of supporting her. Some Christians are accusing her of following a script, being forced to revert back, and being disingenuous.
مش إنسانة صادقة في كلامها.
But Nahal nevertheless affirmed on multiple occasions that her reversion back to Islam was absolutely sincere, and the reason she chose to go public and give interviews on the matter was to repair the damage she might have caused in her years as a Christian apologist. She indeed admits that many people have been called to Christianity through her past activism. Suffering greatly from this, she desires to make things right.
اللي امنوا بالمسيح بسبب كلامي، لا يا جماعه انا كنت غلطانه. اعتذار لكل مسلمين العالم، سامحوني.
By admitting that her past beliefs as a Christian were wrong, Nahal is indeed closing the door to the idea that her reversion is staged or forced. It is the loudest claim that she abandoned what her 30-year-old vision lured her into, and through reason and guidance went back on the path of the righteous. But in addition to this clear statement on her beliefs, she apologizes to every single Muslim she might have hurt, showing the care she nourishes for the brothers and sisters she just regained by re-entering Islam.